Can novel AI work with sci-fi? Let's see. There's three main ways to achieve this genre in novel AI: the ATTG, the Lorebook, and of course, the settings, which we can fiddle around with all day. And now for starters, let's say you're just trying to start off and make a new sci-fi story. A good ATG and a good summary will get you a long way, so let's start working on one of those. Now then, as you can see, ATTG, the author, title, tags, and genre, they get us started off right. So now for author, you can pick just about anyone. It'll have an effect on the style that it writes in, but expect a little wackiness if it doesn't know who it is. Feel free to try though. We're just gonna put in someone here in the science fiction genre, little Frank Herbert. Maybe we'll get good results. I don't know what kind of story we're setting up yet, so we might get a little wacky. We can give it a title like something Starship, maybe. Just something basic. You don't really. The two main ones are tags and genre. So the latter half, you can basically take author and title out, but they can have a good impact if it knows what it's using there. So if you have like a big series of books that everyone would know, then it probably has a bit of knowledge on it. Just some basic tags for a space story. Tags really can just be whatever the heck you want. They're pretty broad. Just anything that is going to be happening in your story. So space, spaceships, advanced technology, future would be maybe a good one. If you're going for this style, it really depends on what you're going for. And of course, we have sci-fi, which is our genre of choice for right now. This can also be things in the sci-fi genre. I think cyberpunk, you know what I mean? It's kind of, you have something nearby or like a branch of it, you might be able to get away with sort of just sneak it in there. And then right under that, a good old summary to get us started. If you know what you're going into, if you know like what you want the prompt to be, the first paragraph or so, then a summary can be a good way to give a little bit of backstory and understanding to the thing. So I guess I'm just going to use an old story that I know a lot about, and we can adapt it for this one. Okay, something like that should be a good enough summary to get right into a prompt. Even without a good prompt, we should be able to get something going here. So now just remember, what we're trying to do is just give the AI the best chance it has at understanding what we're trying to tell it. So a good ATTG and summary goes a long way, but there is also the lore book. If you know your characters already, I tend to just drop in with ATTG, find the stories and the summaries along the way usually, but here we're going to try and flesh out these characters. I think Jace and Aura, or something like that, you know what I mean. We're just going to try and give that as good of an explanation as we can before we go into it. Let's give this guy a name. Good old Jace. And Jace here is going to be just an astronaut, space traveler, just fairly normal dude. Fairly normal, not much going on. Okay. So, type and character, right? That literally just tells it that this guy's a character. Pretty simple. Makes it just realize that really easy. Species human, of course, just a regular dude. A wee little bit of personality to maybe try and make him seem a little bit more of the happy type. This guy's gonna be kind of happy-go-lucky, you know. To figure out the best way to put their bond sort of in to this, we might just make a new category called bond, see if it works. You know, it's somewhat like the relationships, so I could just set them up like family, allies. Well, I guess they are allies, but it just seems a little weird. We'll just give this a nice little try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. All right, once you're done here, make sure you can do a little bit of prose, but don't forget your keys down here when you're done. And we can I'll do the spaceship, and then we can come back. This is a good enough example of attributes. I'll do a prose example of the starship, just to show you prose, so that if you want to set your characters up like that, you can. There we go. We can see a nice little prose intro there. I would say probably don't mix attribute style and prose together, just like in the lore book at the same time. Because like, look, I'll show you an example of what's going on here. Now then this is post edit, but is all you do is add the prefix with 4 dashes and a new line, and then every single one that you open up, it's going to add a separator in there for you on the categories, if you wanted to know. I'm trying to keep my chair in front of the window because it looks like the pearly gates are opening up behind me back here. Okay, so this is what our context looks like, though. We have everything. We have the memory stuff on top here, and then of course our characters there, and there you go. And they're separated between with the little info separators, which is somewhat how it should be. Really, what should happen, if you're trying to do plumes or like good formatting, I think the ATTG is always at the top, and then you have the memory actually underneath these, and I'll show you an easy way to do that here in a second. Because now, like I was saying, this is a bit jarbled, you know what I mean? We're given 2 different examples of how we want the characters to be expressed, so that's why I wouldn't really mix up prose and attribute style. It depends on if it works for you. Can't really give much if you do like that, if you mix them up, you know, because you can do a little bit of prose on the bottom of attribute, or you can do straight up prose. I just tend to do either or, but you can come up to that conclusion. Okay, so now if you don't know how to set up SG Green Pillars formatter, you just pop it right in from the Discord down below, or watch the video that I did on a while back. And then make sure to turn off the characters if you've already made them, like these were the original ones that I showed off here. Turn those off, and don't forget to clear your memory and author's note so that there's no duplicates. You can check this in your context if you need to, but yeah, it should just be sort of plug and play. You just scoot, copy and paste them into characters and move your memory here and your ATD right here. So now that we've got it nice and formatted, I want to just, you know, because this is coming from a comment, I wanted to, you know, propose all the options that you have here. You should be down here. These guys had modules out the wazoo. I think from general to text adventure modules, but some of them would be specifically in this style. Themes, artificial intelligence was good for science fiction, cyberpunk, of course. I think there actually is one. Hard science fiction, golden age sci-fi, plenty of trial and error things here. Military sci-fi, Mars colonization would work. Nature, medieval age of discovery. Well, not that one, but you know what I mean. Science fantasy. A space opera. I used to use that one a lot. Jesus, is there more here? That is a. I think there's more than whenever I used to use this thing. But yeah, good option. Just thought I'd throw it out there. Give it a try. You know, open up a new, copy and see if that works for you. Oh, and you can't forget about Utripi's model trainer or module trainer. If you're into, setting up your own module, then you can totally just plop in the text that you want to train it on, train it for a few steps, and see if that'll capture the style better. I don't know. I don't really have much experience with the training, but I do hear it works pretty well if you have a big enough text file or whatever you're going to be plopping in here and you train it well enough. So that's an option too, but unfortunately it isn't an option for the new things. May not quite have the old trainers and stuff, but it does have its own things, which you can put in author's note, these being style and knowledge. So if we wanted to, you could always point even more directly point this thing towards what you want using knowledge. So, and knowledge towards anything science fiction, space exploration, space opera, anything in that category is just gonna focus its attention even more. And you can put that in the author's note. You can directly inject it into your story. I've seen some people do that. And if you're wondering exactly what that is, it's literally just a, category thing like this. It's well documented in the document section. I'll put that down below as well. And I will put Plume's guide down there, so check them out. They both have their ways of telling you about it if you want to know more about it. That's just extra. If you're just like, man, I really am not having a fun time with this space storytelling adventure yet, and I needed to know more of something or focus on a certain thing. That's what you can do with these new ones, Kyra and Cleo, that you can't quite do with Utropy or Crake. Where the heck is Crake, by the way? I don't know. If you guys have Crake, let me know down in the description below if you have Crake. Or let me know if you know what happened to Crake. Is Crake gone? I have no idea. Okay, now we're going to be hopping right into an actual story here, containing the two characters, all of the formatting we've done, and there's really, you can do it a mixed way, like I'm about to do, just to, if you want to direct it a little bit more than usual, you can use Instruct, which if you don't know how to use, it's just the curly brackets on your keyboard there, and then you type your instruction in just like you would ChatGPT. Sometimes a wee bit different. You can have different commands and stuff, but normally if you do a curly bracket and it'll do that weird little, I don't know what the heck that is there, orange bracer, then this is your time to instruct right here. So, but I'm going to start off with just a normal prompt and storytelling. Let's get right into it. Then I did hear some people want an example of how dialogue works. So maybe we'll do this first interaction a little bit slower so that you guys can see how I do it, We're using telepathic links this time, so dialogue is going to have greater than, less than symbols instead of regular old quotes. And that's just how we're going to talk to the ship. But they just start talking back and forth already. They said roleplay chat in the comment, so I'm like, I'll get into if they meant like AI, like chat format, like character AI style format a little bit later. But this is just going to be how I do dialogue between two characters. As you can see, it does just tend to pick up on dialogue very quickly. We're just gonna continue for a little bit. Maybe a little bit of, dialogue between the technician and them. Now, if you have any sort of like skills in writing, you'll definitely be able to pump out something a little bit better than what I'm doing here. I was not expecting that. Okay. Let's get into some of the like mechanics of what's going on here. Remember, she's like a tendril cockpit, so he just sort of shimmies on in. There we go. Now that's much better. There we go. That is very nice and descriptive already. Then again, we've done plenty of work to make sure that it's doing cool stuff. Now, like I said, if you want to use a little bit of Instruct to give it a bit of a narrative or a nudge in the right direction that you want, don't forget the curly brackets, and then just put in whatever you want. And of course, we can augment it with doing Instruct and sort of break up the formatting, right? Like if you're just writing and writing and writing, and then you give an instruction out of nowhere, it might make things a little bit looser in the formatting. Like here we've went straight into like just line by line dialogue. I much prefer the, sort of dialogue, a little bit of writing afterwards, dialogue style. But it does get you where you want to go if you have a direction, or maybe you want to play God for a second, Okay. Now we can just change the scene using the dinkuses and complete the mission on the moon. Of course, if you want to, be experimental with all these things, like maybe you saw that it gave the like she becomes a human, or maybe the cloak here, maybe you like that. You can make a copy right there and just be like duplicate, and boom, continue on. You know what I'm saying? Because right now I really just had the idea to have them land, but taking the shape of a human and then taking the shape of a cloak, I did not expect at all. So do that as you will. And there we go. I'd say we've got a good story in the making here. Really depends on where you want to take it. If you know where you want to take it, branch it off as many times as you want to explore things and keep your formats up to date, and you'll have a fine sci-fi story in the making here, I think. And I think that covers just about everything besides the chat thing, just in case that's what he was asking, and I'll cover that right now. If you're wanting to do something along the lines of like an AI chat thing, like character AI, go into your settings up here and grab the API token. You can grab the API token right here. shove this thing into Tavern AI or Silly Tavern, and you can have that chat style thing. I've used it in Tavern AI, and it works pretty good for any of the chats that you can have there. It's a little bit better than something like Kobold hooked into it directly. But yeah, that's all you need to do. And Tavern AI will have its own like how to set it up thing on their end. But yeah, you can do that. Okay, so if you've made it this far, I want to thank you for watching. I did lose my outro image. I still have the music, but yeah, thank you for whoever commented that, and I'll see you in the next one.